Alright, here we go. So, miles per hour. We've got both windows down. Alright guys, so after stock, shorties, long tubes, here's the realization of it. Stock exhaust, it's not bad. It's really not that bad. You could delete that nasty trash can, muffler, resonator, whatever you want to call it, that's on the very back, and just put on dual exhaust from maybe the axle back, and you would have a decent sounding Mustang. For older people, some older guys like to have a little sound, but they don't want anything like shorty headers or long tubes, especially long tubes. Whew. We'll get into that. So what you could do is delete that trash can in the back, keep the stock muffler, which is about the center of your vehicle. Keep the stock cats, keep the stock manifolds. The stock manifolds, aka headers, on the 4.0 are actually pretty good. So you could keep them on, just throw some dual exhaust from the axle back, and you would have a nice looking 4.0 that sounds, a little bit better than stock. You could go with that option, and a lot cheaper. Now, if you want a little bit of sound, you want an aggressive sound, but you don't want it too raspy. You want it to have a nice tone, a nice rumble. Then, of course, the shorty headers with stock cats definitely is a way to go for those people who want a really good sound, but they don't want it too loud that they got to be careful when they're driving in town so no cops pull them over. My recommendation is, if you're worried about cops, if you are worried about being way too loud, if you just want a loud sound, decent sound, a little rasp, but not that much, overall a nice rumble, the exhaust setup that I had on for the shorty headers, stock cats, 2.5-inch exhaust piping, True Duals, X-Pipe, 2 cherry bomb glass packs, and whatever tips you want out the back. I recommend that. I love that sound. Beautiful, amazing sound. Overall, just an amazing sound. I, of course, am a guy who likes loudness, so I want to go loud, 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 if I legally can, which luckily we'll get into the long tubes. So yeah, I definitely would highly recommend the shorty headers, which are cheaper than long tubes. They're easier to install, and yeah, you up your horsepower a little bit. Now, sadly, the stock manifolds versus the shorty headers, the stock manifolds are really good. The stock manifolds, which means our headers, stock headers, are very good on the 4.0. So horsepower gains, you're going to see a little bit. Despite what some people say, and I know all dynos are different, but I have seen it over and over again. The stock Mustang will probably hit about 170 to 179 horsepower from stock exhaust with nothing else done to the car. I've even seen some with cold air intakes, and they're only pushing 180 horsepower. Now that's to the wheel. You see, stock our cars come, the 4.0 comes 210 horsepower stock. Now that's not to the wheels, that's just overall horsepower. When you go to the wheels, you lose a lot of horsepower. And a lot of guys say, oh yeah, I dyno at 185, 190 stock exhaust, no problem. I would highly question those dynos, because that's not going to be right. You're looking about 180 maximum with stock exhaust. So, shorty headers, if you're looking for power, more horsepower and torque, shorty headers are a little bit bump up from stock. Same with, the going to high flow mufflers. And definitely, if you want more horsepower but you don't want long tubes, you could go with high flow cats. Now the exhaust will be a little bit louder than what you've seen in my video for the shorty headers. So if you go high flow cats, keep in mind it's going to increase the sound by a little bit more. It's not going to be as loud as the long tubes, but it's going to be in between there. Okay, now for the crazy nuts that are out there that like loudness, that are like me. Okay, where do we start? So the long tube headers are off-road headers. So, you know, you have to delete your cats when you're putting these long tube headers on because your stock cats just will not work with these long tube headers. You can put cats on with long tubes, but you got to get, I forget what brand it is, but you got to get certain ones, and you got to have a garage that's willing to, you know, line everything up perfectly and rerun wires for sensors and so forth and that whole mess. So you're talking a lot more money. Long tube headers cost double, I would say about double the money of the Shorties, and probably close to double to install them. So more money. Do you really get more horsepower? Absolutely. Where's my paper? Where's my paper here? So, dynoed from the Shorty headers with my stock cats, versus the long tubes and no cats, we gained, let's see, we gained 7 horsepower versus the Shorties, and we gained like 12 foot-pounds of torque versus the Shorties and stock cats. So yes, you're going to gain more horsepower, and again, you might gain more, you might gain less. It all depends on your other exhaust setup and mufflers and, you know, just different other stuff like cold air intake and so forth. So with that being said, if you like loudness, I mean, if you like an amazingly loud car that sounds really good, I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it, but it is loud. So, you know, I can't get on it too much in town or places that a cop might sit. Even though if a cop pulled me over, in my state, if you drive 5,000 miles or less a year, you are exempt from emissions. Therefore, I do not legally have to have cats on my car. So there's really nothing they could do other than if I'm acting crazy and really flooring it all through town, they could get me for, I don't know, reckless driving or whatever, who knows, but I'm not that kind of driver, so it won't be an issue. If you are that kind of driver, if you can't keep your foot off the gas while you're in town, if you got to show off, maybe long tubes are not for you because you probably will get pulled over. And your state might not. Long tube headers are basically designed for off-road use. So now you can add cats on it. You will hinder the sound a little bit, but you're still going to get really loud sound, louder than the Shorties with high flow cats or stock cats. So no matter how you look at it, long tubes are going to increase the sound. But man, it's a world of a difference. I think, you know, I get way more looks with the long tube headers on than the Shorties. I think the Shorty headers and stock cats, the exhaust idle sounded a little more of a rumble, maybe a little better, just a little bit, than the long tubes and no cats. But the long tube and no cats, as soon as you get on the gas, there's a world of a difference. I mean, a world of a difference. And it just, man, for a car guy that loves loud exhaust, that is it. That is the sweet spot. That is the apple of my ears. You know, that is an amazing sound, and overwhelmingly happy. So yes, we gained horsepower when we went to Shorty headers from stock. We gained more horsepower and torque when we went from Shorty headers to long tubes and no cats. So, you know, if you want to pay more money and you want louder sound, you guys know the setup for that. Where I bought all these products will be in my video description. I would be very careful who you buy from. All the links in my description are from safe sellers that are not knockoffs. I've seen knockoff cherry bomb glass packs, you know, $25 for cherry bomb glass pack, and people think, oh, they're so cool, they're good, when no, if you actually had the real thing, you would notice a big difference from the knockoffs. Yes, knockoffs are cheaper, but if you're going to buy a pair of Air Jordan sneakers, do you really want a knockoff pair that's cheaply made, or do you want the original thing that you know what it is? I don't know, some people might want the knockoff, but that's just kind of how it is when it comes to parts, you know. for this whole Mustang build, I used original non-junk parts, which, you know, you pay more, but you got quality. So, yes. So if you guys want, you can check out my video description. You can check all that out. For me, this long tube headers is amazing, but it could be way too loud for some of you guys out there. And for the guys that just want, you know, a good sound, a little loud, then, you know, the Shorties are loud. You know, when you rev it, it is loud, but it's not overly loud, in my opinion. But that's coming from a guy who thinks these long tube headers, you know, is the perfect sounds. So if you think these long tube headers is way too loud, then maybe Shorty headers are a little too loud, and maybe you just want to do stock exhaust. Get rid of the resonator trash can that's on the back of the exhaust and just put dual exhaust from the axle back or behind the axle, and keep the stock mufflers and stock cats, stock headers. You'll get a little bit of extra sound, but it's not going to be, you know, near like the Shorties or long tubes. So that's my intake. Now, guys, it took me a while to put this video together, so it would be awesome if you guys could subscribe, because that shows that you care. If you could like this video, that shows that you've watched this whole video and you actually do care. I'm not your typical YouTuber. I like to comment and reply back, so if you have any questions, please leave a comment. I mean, there is no stupid question. If you think your question is stupid or I'm gonna laugh, no, there is no stupid question, because how can you learn if you do not first ask? So ask, and I will try and help you to the best of my knowledge and abilities. Now, if you could go turn the notification on, that's awesome. Go to my main YouTube channel, Revline89, you know, on YouTube, youtube.com/Revline89, the number 89. And then on the main channel, you can hit subscribe, and the little bell is going to be there. If you hit that bell and turn that bell on, anytime I upload a new video, you're going to get notified, which I upload a new video 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. each of those days. So 6 p.m. Monday, 6 p.m. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Saturday. All right, guys, I'm tired. It is 78 degrees up here, and I am hot. What does that have to do with this video? I don't know. I'm just a random guy, so thank you guys for watching. Take care.